Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and I am covering the before time of Uriah Heep, covering the Lansdowne tapes when they were still the band Spice. And, of course, the members of the band at the time were on vocals, David Byron, guitar, Mick Box, bass, Paul Newton, drums, Alex Napier, and keyboards, Colin Wood. All very, very talented musicians. I have to say, as I've started to cover these songs, about halfway through them now, and I really wonder, I'm not big on speculation because it doesn't do any good. You're never going to get an answer to it, but I have to wonder, this band was so good, where would they have gone? Obviously, they would have gone, they were headed into an apparently more jazzy route, something more like King Crimson, but definitely, progressive, really talented, very tight. Sounds great. I really like these guys. And although I'm very happy with the direction they chose, I think there's some good potential stuff in here too. So positive note either way, for sure. Like I said, we'll never know. But I will say I think they were a really good band as Spice. Now, today's song, I'm really excited to cover. I have not listened to it yet, but I know this song because this is a cover of a Three Dog Night song called Celebrate. And I covered this song on my other podcast, the Haskincast podcast, when I covered the album Suitable for Framing earlier this year. A favorite album of mine, one I grew up with. It's got a lot of memories in it for me. I've learned a lot from this album. But the thing that I find in comparison to Three Dog Night is that Uriah Heep were very well known for their vocal harmonies, and so were Three Dog Night. Now, I haven't heard so much of that in Spice, so I'm going to be very curious to see, I am very curious to see how they chose to cover this song. Now, it had not been out for very long, so this was a fairly new song at the time that they decided to tackle it. And I say we just dive right in and hear their version. Here it is by Spice.
Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music.
Wow, this is really different. It sounds very raw, which I like. I really love the drum sound that Alex Napier is getting for this era of music. It would sound completely out of place nowadays. But listening to it in context of when this came out, I think it sounds great. Could use a little more bass drum, though. I've noticed that. I don't think I mentioned that on the earlier episodes, but I could use a little more bass drum in the mix. But other than that, his kit actually sounds fantastic. He's a very talented drummer. And listening to this, though, it's interesting. One of the first things that catches me is that, and I've talked about this, I can't remember if it was on this show or my other show, but where I've often found it interesting that British singers seem to lose their accent when they sing and they sound American. And you don't hear the inflections in their pronunciations typically, except for every once in a while. But from what I've read, the theory behind that is that's because they grew up listening to American singers like Elvis and that. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But in any case, I've always found that interesting. Here, however, it sounds like David singing celebrate instead of celebrate. And that is certainly not an American accent. A very interesting way to sing it, though. This is really opening it up with the end of the song, more so than the traditional beginning by Three Dog Night. But either way, it's really cool. It's got that exciting drum intro going right into that chorus. It's a little bit dry at this point. I'm assuming that more is going to be added as we go, but it's really powerful and really energetic and just happy right off the bat. Wow, this is so different from what I'm used to. I really like the arrangement, though. It's a completely different approach to the song. I don't know who's playing flute on this or if that is actually Colin Wood playing it on a mellotron. I'm not sure. I have no information on that, but it sounds really good. It almost sounds a little bit Beatlesque, I would say. Definitely more so than Three Dog Night. I don't recall there being any flutes unless I just missed them, which is certainly possible. But this is cool. I really love Paul Newton's sound on this. The bass is definitely present in the song and sounds really good. It's such a jazzy, upbeat version of what we're hearing here. Because even the chorus of the Three Dog Night version, it was at a good moderate tempo. It had a really positive feel to it, but was not aggressive in any way at all. Whereas this song is really aggressive for the day. So it's a cool version, though.
Slipping away, sitting on a pillow, waiting for night to fall. Girl in a dream, sitting on a pillow. This is the night, we're going to the celebrity ball. Satin and lace, isn't it a pity? Didn't find time to go. Ready or not, gonna make it to the city. Oh, this is the night, going to the celebrity ball.
Okay, so we are hearing some of the backups that we would expect to hear from Spice, but also very similar to the Three Dog Night version. This is definitely faster. The other one is much more dramatic. You feel this, element of sorrow where this person is just sitting there by themselves on a pillow, and they're just kind of waiting for things to happen. Kind of reminds me a little bit of The Butterfly Ball and The Grasshopper's Feast by Roger Glover, just because it's kind of there's that, waiting to get ready to go to the ball kind of feel to it. In fact, I don't know if I ever made that connection before now, but in any case, this came out much earlier than The Butterfly Ball did, about 8 years earlier. But this is cool. It's fast. Again, I feel like David Byron is singing in a little bit lower of a range than I'm used to hearing him in. And it could just be, the style of music. It could be the song, but I've said that on the other songs, so I don't think so as much. But he sounds great. He really does. I just think maybe he hadn't reached that potential of what he could do just yet on this. But it sounds really good. The band is very solid, very coherent, and very much playing together.
Dress up tonight, why be lonely? You'll stay at home and you'll be alone, so why be lonely? Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music.
Wow, it's kind of hard to take all this in because I know the song so well and this version is so vastly different. It's almost just again, because I'm used to the slower tempo, this is almost aggressive, like you're getting in my face telling me to celebrate, instead of it just being like an encouraging, hey, let's all get to this party and have some fun kind of feel. But that's only because I know the other version so well. Had I never heard that, and this was my first time ever hearing the song, I don't think I'd feel that way at all. But it's really cool. It's interesting, too, that long sustained note over the chorus starting, and then David singing on his own for that first pass, and then joined by the backing vocals, really has just a completely different feel to it. But I think David sounds great on this song in this range. I mean, I said he sounds like he's singing lower than I'm used to hearing, but that doesn't mean I don't like what I'm hearing. I absolutely do. I think he's just as strong here as anything else I've heard. And I really feel that excitement of getting to this celebration and all just, joining in together and having a good time. I think he's really delivering that. And the music is just so powerful. The powerful chords coming from Mick. The drums are just, there's fills all over the place. Almost like a little bit too much. But again, thinking about this style of music, this time in our history, this was not an uncommon way to play a song.
Sitting alone, sitting on a pillow.
I really liked the addition of a guitar solo to this song, although it was quick. It was just in and out. I liked what I heard. It really fit the song, but boy, I could have used a few more measures more of that.
Waiting to climb the wall. tonight, wherever your dream goes. Woman alive, we're going to the celebrity ball. Dress up tonight. Why be lonely? You'll stay at home and you'll be alone, so why be lonely? Celebrate, dance to the music.
I really like that long sustained vocal. I think that adds a lot to it because you're just adding another layer underneath of it that eventually is going to take the foreground, but it doesn't just yet. I think that's a pretty neat trick. Not sure I like that stop, though. It just kind of seems unnecessary, and it just takes me out of it a little bit. I think there was one point in the original song where the music did stop, but it was in the final repeating chorus. But they've done that a couple times here. Not a huge fan of the stop, but I definitely like this song. I like this version. I think there's a lot of power. I would have been curious, though, to hear, the band, say, a year or two later, do this song when their harmonies were a little more multi-layered. Because here we're getting a lot of really just backing vocals as opposed to the harmonies that Heep would be known to do. But we're in Spice territory right now, and I think it sounds great. But there's that part of me that goes, but I wonder what, here I go again with the pointless speculation, right?
Celebrate, dance to the music. 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 Celebrate.
Okay, that's definitely a very interesting part. To just have the accents coming from the drums from when the drums have been so wild throughout the whole song really shifts the feeling of it, and not so much the message, but just the feeling of the music. And then there's something going on in the background that I can't quite pick out. I'm going to guess that that's Colin Wood doing something on either the piano or an organ, but I can't even tell what the instrument is because it's buried in there. But I feel like it's very busy and really enhances the song, but I can't tell specifically what it's doing. I wish I could, though, because it sounds like it's really interesting, and I would love to dig into that a little more. But I can only hear what I can hear, and that's what we get. So I just am going to enjoy it and move forward. That was an interesting piano break there. I thought maybe they were going to take the song in a little bit of a different direction, but they went right back into the chorus again. Great version, though. I really like this. It is faster, and I feel like they're really like pushing this person, like, hurry up and get ready and let's go, as opposed to, you know what, we're going to have a great time. Let's get dressed. Let's get ready. Let's go, which was the Three Dog Night style of it. Really cool, though. I think it shows a lot of talent in the band. I love their vision of this song, I should say. Definitely more aggressive. I wish I could have heard a little bit more of Mick's soloing there. It was a little bit buried in the mix throughout the repeating chorus towards the fade, but definitely a cool version of this song. I'm really glad they did it. I'm glad I got to hear it. And, you know, I've enjoyed all 4 episodes I've done of this season so far. We've got 2 to go, 2 more songs from Spice. And We'll see how those go in the next couple of episodes. In the meantime, have a great day, guys. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!